What's up, FishTankTV.com and YouTube? It's Wayne with Wayne's Fish World coming at you with my 10-gallon Nano Lagoon dwarf seahorse tank. And this video goes out to my main man, Zach. Zach is a buddy of mine and he's interested in getting seahorses. So I'm gonna make this video teaching him what he needs to know about seahorses. This is a completely DIY setup. We'll go into the sump later. The tank is acclimating right now. Soon I'll be putting invertebrates in to get the cycle going a little. Get a cleanup crew, some snails, some crabs, maybe a few starfish in here. And then we'll do a video of the sump and we'll see some seahorses in here. So very soon seahorses will be in this tank. Alrighty, seahorses. Some people consider seahorses difficult to care for, and some people consider them easy to care for. It all depends on what kind of seahorse you have. If you have a captive bred seahorse, it's a lot easier because you can feed it basically mysis shrimp, frozen mysis shrimp. If you have a wild seahorse strand, you've got to feed it live foods, and that's what makes it difficult, really. You've got to feed it shrimp, copepods, whatever kind of crustacean that's small that the seahorse can catch it. That's what you gotta feed it. So that can really be a problem, especially if you have a job, you know, you have a life, kids, family, etc. So other than that, captive bred seahorse is the way to go. They're cheaper, they're hardier for the aquarium. You're not taken from the ecosystem, and it's just better overall. You're winning for the ecosystem, and you're winning your wallet. And you know, you got a fish that's a little bit hardier, and it's gonna go out and eat the mysis shrimp you give it. Not have to worry about, is it gonna eat the food I give it, and then you're gonna worry, and then you lost you know, a $50 fish or more. Parameter seahorses need pH, just like any other saltwater fish. 8.1 to 8.4 is pH. Salinity 1.020 to 1.025. Now actually seahorses they do come from the ocean, but they're actually seahorses native to where I'm at, Virginia. There's seahorses in the Chesapeake Bay, there's in the Potomac River and Rappahannock River, and they migrate back to the Chesapeake when wintertime comes. They're in the shallow margin places. Now they're called line seahorses, which are native to my area, and line seahorses live in, what is that stuff called? Eelgrass beds. Eelgrass looks just like big jungle valve pretty much for the people who have Planet tanks. So seahorses aren't just in coral reefs or in the lagoons where there's just plants everywhere. They're places around my hood. It's you know, I've got places that's mucky water, and you wouldn't believe a seahorse would live in here. But when you pull crab pots up, every now and then you get seahorses, and that's pretty cool in my opinion. So I think I'm gonna try to get a captive bred seahorse and go from there. That way I know the water parameters around here. I know how to mimic the river. I can care for it easier. And in my sump I can just have like 100 ghost shrimp, and every now and then I can just pull a few up and feed it the ghost shrimp. So for seahorses, what do you need? Unlike other saltwater tanks, you can't have high flow. High flow is going to blast the seahorse around, and you can't stand high flow. You need little flow. So basically freshwater flow, think of it that way. You can't have marine flow or reef flow. A water flow for a reef tank would just blast the seahorse away. So a hang on the back filter, very weak power head, very small power head is ideal, but a simple hang on the back filter or a return from your sump would be efficient enough. The only problem with that is you need a heavier cleanup crew, because there's going to be detritus forming, and there's going to be algae in little spots, and there's going to be dead spots forming if you don't have a cleanup crew. So if you guys don't know what a cleanup crew is, that's your snails, invertebrates, urchins, crabs, starfish, sea slugs, stuff like that. That's your cleanup crew. So you're definitely going to need to get down on that. Since you don't have as much water flow, your water is going to get a little bit stagnant, and it's going to form dead spots, especially in your cracks and crevices and your caves. Seahorses, you can see I got a little bit of live rock in this tank, but I've got macroalgae too, and the live rock in here is a lot of tonga branching looking stuff. Now what tonga branch is stuff like this, these big things up here, and this one back in the back. Tonga branch is basically dead SPS or LPS coral skeletons, and it's the leftover remains. And you can see some actually real tonga branch right here, which isn't encrusted with coralline algae. And that's good for seahorses. They can cling to it, and that's why I got all these macroalgae up here and stuff, so the seahorse can cling its tail to it and feel secure. If a seahorse can't have anything to secure its tail to, it'll live, but it's just better if it had something, you know, to cling to. It's not like a regular fish that flies around in the water. This one actually has to hang on to something. Think of it as like a monkey. It needs to hang on to something. Substrate for seahorses. Anything will really do, but I recommend a fine substrate, a fine sand. The finer the better, because if you have crushed coral or something, I just think it'd be a little rough on the seahorse's belly, because the seahorses will drift down to the bottom to catch the shrimp, to catch the food, or maybe they're just getting a little bit lazy and they feel like being on the bottom. And when they're rubbing against the bottom with something hard, it's going to scratch their external skeleton. And that's another thing. Seahorses have an external skeleton, so you need to keep the calcium level high. I recommend Bionic or Kawasaki to do that. So calcium is a plus. Make sure you get some real reef sand. That's a good way to keep the calcium up too. You know, also buffer your pH. You're killing two birds with one stone. So seahorses aren't that really difficult. Just, you know, mimic their habitat. Make sure you know where your seahorse is coming from. Is it coming from the reef, or is it coming from a planted area? I haven't really decided on which kind of seahorse I'm going to get, from the reef or from a planted area. So I'm kind of mimicking both. I might put a few corals in here too. Now corals, seahorses are reef safe, and some seahorses do live on the reef. Some camouflage in, especially the pygmy seahorses. But when you put corals in with a seahorse, you have to make sure that they don't have tentacles that can sting or harm the seahorse. Seahorses are slow swimmers. They're not very strong swimmers. And, you know, something like a hammerhead coral or a torch coral, something like that with long stinging tentacles, or anemone, it's not going to be good for the seahorse. It's only going to pose a threat. So I advise small soft corals with seahorses, like mushrooms, zinnias, Kenya trees, some leather corals, something like that. Low light, not much demanding corals, and you know, it doesn't push out long tentacles at night when it feeds. Also, a lot of people think, can I put seahorses in with other fish? Yes, you can. You just have to remember something. This fish has to be, it cannot harm the seahorse, and it can't pose to a threat when it comes to feeding. If the seahorse is outcompeted for food, you're out of luck. If the seahorse can't eat, it's gonna die. So if you have a fast moving aggressive fish in here, like say I got a domino damsel, it's not gonna let the seahorse eat at all. If you had like a firefish, or maybe a pair of peculiar or oscularis clowns, that's a little better. Sorry for the camera getting shaky, I hit the pedestal. So when you put a fish in here, make sure they're small. Maybe some small gobies, like a yellow watchman goby, some neon gobies, a little clownfish, a yellow-tailed tablet damsel, maybe something like that. Maybe something small. Just make sure it won't pose a threat to the seahorse, and make sure the seahorse can eat still. Other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. Seahorses are actually really sturdy to nitrates. Like the ones native to me, my river is full of nitrates, and you know, they can withstand it, which is crazy, but they can do it. Also, seahorses, I forgot what I was going to say there. But yeah, I cannot wait till I get some seahorses in this tank, guys. Tell me what you think. Any suggestions, let me know, guys. And tell me what you like about my videos and what you don't like about my videos. Just don't dislike my video. Tell me what you don't like. That way I can improve on it and I can make better videos for you guys. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Later.